Hi, everyone. My name is Marion Ranchet. I'm the founder of the local act and newsletter Streaming Made Easy. And today we're having a chat with a friend amongst friends, so to say. Let me welcome my co-host, Yann.
Hi Marion, thank you so much for having me. Missing me Mipcom already. So next year, we need to go to Sportel. So we spend one more week in the sunny south of France. Deal?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, awesome. Well, guys, just a few things to check out first. So I'm sure you know us. I'm sure you're reading us, every week. If you're not, this is your opportunity to actually sign up to our newsletters. The Streaming Lab from Yann focuses on the MENA region, so Middle East and Africa. And I focus on Europe. It doesn't mean we're not talking about the global scene, but we're always looking at those topics with our, local and regional angle, which I think, make it a good read. We've had some good feedback when we were in Cannes. So what to expect today? Very quickly, we're going to take a look at the industry sentiment around Mipcom. We can take a look at the attendance as well. I actually spoke to Emilie Organ. She's not here. She couldn't make it, but I wanted to get her take on Meep Junior, so we'll have a bit of that. And then we've decided to focus on 3 events. There was so much, right? So much going on. You could actually spend, 4 days attending conferences, but if you were like me, I actually had 40 meetings in 4 days and had almost no time to do it, but fear not, Yann was here and he was actually able to capture a lot of fantastic insights. The Q&A, sorry, the chat, everything is open. So guys, go for it. If you have any question, anything that you want to contribute, let's do that. I'll make a few breaks so that I can actually take a look at what's going on in the chat and the Q&A. So let's chat about, the market, as a whole. So this was the 40th edition. In terms of the attendees, we saw the numbers from Mipcom. We were looking at over 10K attendees, so 10.5. I looked it up. It's actually a bit less than last year. Last year, they actually advertised that they had over 11K attendees. I have to say that it didn't feel, that much different from last year. What did you think, Yann?
No, that was fun. Honestly, I think I'm more positive or optimistic than most of the industry. I'm always so happy to travel to Cannes because I come from the south of France. It's a good reason. But no, it's also because I talk about an amazing region, the Middle East and North Africa region, and this region is growing like crazy. So there's always something to say. As you know, I command the industry on the Streaming Lab newsletter, but I'm part of it also. I do a lot of consulting for the local streaming services. And from my personal point of view, it was amazing to go. I had my journalist hat this time. I was part of the press room. And also, like I felt that more people from Middle East came this year. So I still don't have the exact numbers, but yeah, I saw many stands, a lot of friends, even new people, living in Middle East. That was the first time I could meet them. So no, honestly, very positive. But again, it's a personal point of view, and I know that a lot of people and part of the industry is also struggling. So let's see. It's getting more and more complex, and that's why also I think we are here. We try to understand this complexity and support the industry.
Yeah, so every year I'm thinking, why am I going? I've been going for the last 14 years. I think the first time was in 2010, and I used to go twice a year, right? I was doing MIP TV, Mipcom. I have to be honest, it's painful and exceptional at the same time, right? You're running around, it's insane. But the amount of value that you get in terms of the meeting, that you can make with people, going away from the Zooms and others. The insights, there's things that you hear there that you would never hear in, via email, or on a call or on a proper meeting. Actually, every time I learn more things during cocktails than I often do the rest of the time. So it is definitely a must-have for me. Now, I get it. It's expensive to go there, right? Especially for us as indies. But for anyone, bringing a full team, building a stand, the pass, all of those things. And I get it. We're at a time where we're looking to reduce costs across the industry. And so it's, is it a must-have? But for me, it's a must-have, definitely. I think it's great that there's one event a year in Cannes. The team is working on a specific event around London in February that's going to be, very different than what we've seen prior at MIPTV. And I think, on that level, all is well. We didn't go, but I actually spoke to Emilia Organ. So she's the kids expert for me. And for many people in the industry, her and her team, they're actually doing a podcast this week or next week. So you guys can check it out. They will get into the key takeaways. But I had a quick chat with her to get a sense of, where was the kids industry. And it was interesting. She was saying that there was a depression. They were coming out of the depression, especially within the kids segment. So much so that in 2020, she calls it the great cancellation, right? That's when streamers actually started to cancel numbers of programs across the board. And of course, the industry had to go back to normal, so to say, right? So those days, the heydays where, everyone was commissioning kids content along with other genres, it stopped. And she was saying that this year she felt that, a lot of companies were still figuring out, where to go next. And she mentioned a lot of focus on new business model, new ecosystem. So of course, still working with the likes of YouTube, but working with companies like Roadblocks. And she was saying that the time to talk about it was 3 years ago, the time to do it was now, which I think we can apply this on, so many levels across the industry, is that we love chatting about things. How quickly can we actually embrace, something new or a new change within our ecosystem? It's there's always a bit of that lag going on. But so check it out, guys. I will make sure that, whenever I share the deck and the YouTube video of this webinar, there's a link and you can actually check out. They have an amazing podcast on kids content. Let's get started. The Applied AI Summit. So I wasn't there, but what we're going to do is that Yann was actually nice enough to bring together quotes from the different panelists. And, each of us is going to discuss one or a few of those. And, in the chat or the Q&A, let us know if there's one that we haven't covered and you actually want to have our take on this, just go for it. So Yann, I'll let you get started. Within those, which one do you want to comment?
Yeah, to give you a little bit the context. So this year, I was part of the press room, and every day I decided to write one article focused on the 3 summits. So the first one was about AI, the second one was about AVOD and FAST, and the third one was about CTV. It was very fun, but let's say challenging, because I didn't want to miss the parties also. So when I was coming back home, I was like writing at home. But I'm very proud of me because I did it, and I managed to gather a lot of insights. Why I did it. Usually, when you go to you attend a panel, I think you can memorize like what 5%, 10% of it, maybe the same day. So after 1 week, everything like is a little bit more blurred. So I wanted to write down some quotes. I think it's good because our industry is also not only about companies, but about people. And it's very interesting to understand what they think about the future of our industry. So let's start with the AI Summit. And I will suggest to start with the quote from Emily. So do you know what is Ranchet, Marion?
So actually, no. The only thing is I know they made a deal with Lionsgate. That's the essence of it. So yeah, tell me more. Tell us more.
Cool. So I was happy to see that Emily from Ranchet was speaking at Mipcom. I've been subscribing to Ranchet for the past 3 months. So okay. That's fun. I used it because I wanted to animate a picture of my grandparents. And I found the result amazing. I sent it to my mother. I think she cried. Okay.
Oh, that's too cute. I love it. Okay, cool.
This is only one tool that they offer. What they mentioned is that Ranchet is a tool for human imagination. And when you know, Ranchet is about AI, is very interesting, this human imagination. They have 34 tools, a mix of generative video, text to video, text to image, video to video, transcripts. So it's I invite you to test the platform. It's amazing. And what Amy mentioned is that within the next 5 years, 50% of online content will be generated by or augmented by AI. Interesting. Don't forget, she's head of marketing or growth marketing. So of course, it's important for her to say that. But honestly, again, from a personal point of view, I'm sure a lot of people started embracing AI. So I will not be surprised if online content becomes more and more generated by AI. Having said that, when we talk about TV series, movies, I'm not sure we talk about online content. So this fold is a little bit more complex. But the way she introduced like this part of the business is interesting. She started describing the invention of cameras, then the invention of videos. You know, she mentioned the Frères Lumière, Arrivée en Gare, one of the first movie, and she thinks, or at least she's convinced, that AI will disrupt the industry, same like the camera or cinema did. So let's see. Honestly, yeah, I'll keep focusing and trying Ranchet. I'm very interested in the partnership they implemented with Lionsgate. We don't have a lot of details right now. What I understood is that they now have access, of course, to most of the content produced by Lionsgate, and they are using this database to create a specific algorithm that will be useful for production companies. So wait and see.
Can I ask you, so the deal with Lionsgate, essentially, they're going to use the content from Lionsgate to train the LLM, right?
Yes. Yes. So right now, she mainly mentions about the training opportunity.
Yeah.
In terms of use case that will come after that, still a big surprise, but we'll talk about other quotes coming from productions company. It's also interesting to have their
views,
their point of view. A lot of people are scared about AI, especially in our industry, or at least the production side. And yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah, I get it. So me, I'm going to take the one on productivity because so I want to be positive about AI, but I needed to do things for me. Let's be honest. I would love for it to enhance, augment, you know, what I'm doing at my level, right? So I can only assume, and that's interesting. So Audrey Schomer, she did a few Variety reports on AI. She's super knowledgeable, and clearly the adoption will come if you're putting the right use cases at the right price, and we can speak to that afterwards, to the media and entertainment stakeholders, right? If you focus a lot on feeding, you know, the AI, training the beast, and whatever the output for them feels remote and is mostly focused on how it could replace them. So I hear what you're saying on production companies, right? They're worried about, you know, AI generated content from A to Z. And when you're in the business of creativity and talent, then that's super scary. But so I think one way to do that is look at use cases. And so she mentioned concept work. We've actually seen ITV making an announcement saying that they would be using AI to help them build, you know, new content, but more in a brainstorming capacity. I don't really have much details on that, but for sure on dubbing and subtitling, it's been, you know, a major topic because the market I'm in is very much, you know, fragmented, and the need for localization is actually, you know, hampering the development of a lot of streaming services, whether you're talking paid or free. So this is one that I'm super, you know, super interested in. There's one that she doesn't mention, And when I'm looking at fast amongst, a few things on the channel creation, clearly there's a lot of tedious work that needs to be done when it comes to creating the channel. And I'm hoping that a lot of the companies, the World, Frequency, Amagi, Ocast, of the world are looking at a way to, put some AI in the mix to facilitate that piece of content channel creation, especially when we look at ad breaks, etc. Now it's interesting to see a very down to earth, quote from TF1 on how they're using AI. That's very much how maybe you and I would actually use AI today, no?
No, definitely. That's very interesting what Marion said also, like, how to use AI in her industry, like generate visuals, mood boards, etc. So very down to earth. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about AI, not specifically designed for our industry. And someone from Hugging Face, the big tech companies from France, mentioned that we all overestimate the power of AI in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
However, we underestimate the power of AI in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And in technology, it's always like this, you think today AI can do everything. That's not the reality. The more you focus on it, the better you understand that AI is useful on specific use case. But in the next 10 years, definitely it will disrupt the industry. So from a personal point of view, I believe it's better to embrace it. Some of the speakers were a little bit skeptic, but they said it in a nice way. Of course, I understand that they have to protect their IP. So the legal challenges are there. And if we don't solve them right now, we could have issues in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So yes, let's embrace AI, find use case. And again, one more point, I think the technology will be available to anyone. I don't believe this is an issue. Runway is one company among others. The tricky point is to find the right use case. And what you mentioned is perfect. That's why we need people like you to identify the right use case in a very specific industry. And then, so people like you could be the bridge between the tech companies and a specific industry. But again, like, if you
the
understand
money, right?
Sorry?
And the money piece, right? So yeah, ChatGPT is 20 euros. That's just nothing, right? But this is very much for, a single use, right? You use it like this. But if you need to deploy it, across your infrastructure, across your entire company, how much is that costing you, and are you gaining enough to actually make that business case work? I think we're gonna have to talk about the ROI, right? So is it making you do things faster, but is it doing it in such a way that it's also not breaking the bank? And I'm thinking about dubbing and subtitling, because I've seen a lot of content companies for the last few years testing, and there's a few examples, but I think Papercup, these guys were sponsors of the summit. It is still, costly, and in front of it, if you have a brand new market, one where, for example, it's hard to acquire new sub, or the monetization is lagging the viewership, you're still making a tough, equation. So yes, it's enabling you to do it, but it's still costly. And to your point, the fact that, what it's doing today or in 5 years is nothing like what we're going to see in 10 years. That's where it must be difficult being on the corporate side, is that you want to try a few things, but we're still at a moment in time where it's very much, early days, and therefore you can actually waste time and money in, applying the wrong use cases or the wrong partner within your content infrastructure. So I understand that reluctance in terms of the deployment, but it was interesting to see that most people I spoke to, everyone said that they had working groups within the company. So it's, and I think that's a fascinating thing, because it means that this new technology is actually bringing concerns, etc. But within those companies, it's a great opportunity for folks to transform and help transform their companies.
That's great. Brainstorming is amazing already, you know, because they want to embrace this technology. However, production companies, tech companies, content providers won't attract AI talents. They will have to work with companies like OpenAI directly or all the competitors. And yeah, it won't be $20. So
yeah, exactly. It won't be $20.
You know, it will be like consulting side because they will have to adapt the technology to their ecosystem. It will take time, like it could be years. So and so yeah, definitely it will be interesting. But from a startup point of view, I'm sure there is a space for more AI companies with specific offering specific use case for our industry. So let's see. We'll try to keep tracking them.
So speaking of that, so I think we have another slide with some more quotes. And is there anything that you want to... So I have one, I'll call shotgun on this one, which is the one on social media at the end. Then you can take the other three. I want the last.
Cool. Cool. Do you want to start or?
No, go for it.
Okay. I'll start with the one from Johan from Google. A little bit selfish, but he mentioned a partnership between Google and OSN Plus. That is one of the top streaming service in the MENA region. So I was very happy to hear a mention of a MENA company. And that's great. It shows that, you know, usually the MENA region is not the first one when it comes to innovation, of course, because the region is less mature than the US or Europe. So we listen, we get insights from, and then we try to localize. And I was happy to see that Google, you know, works with a local streaming player right now in 2024 about a specific use case. So they want to facilitate discovery, implementing like a personal assistant in the middle of the platform. So I can't wait to see it, and I'll definitely let you know and play with this.
Awesome. So yeah, so actually Jonathan Verk was the chair or the host, I think, of the summit. So social media has become the primary platform for content discovery, with 80% of new content decision made there. So the reason why I chose this one is, especially applied to streamers and fast channels, I think the marketing piece is tough. If you don't have the money that Netflix has to be essentially, you know, everywhere, every time there's a new show coming or anything major happening in a given market, then how are you being top of mind, right? And how are you moving audiences from social media to, you know, that paid subscription or that streaming service? And so I looked up what social department does, and it's actually brand new, and they're using AI to actually facilitate the creation of marketing assets, right? So a lot of clipping. I think you and I, we know WSC Sports. These guys have been doing that for years within the sports industry, meaning that they're taking a game and they're able to, with AI, to actually produce, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of marketing assets, and then propagate them on social. And I think we were missing this, I would say, within the more traditional scripted and unscripted space. And, you know, I'm super curious to see how, you know, this actually works out. It's a brand new company. They're looking to, you know, of course, you know, get clients coming their way to prove the model. But to me, that is a fantastic use case, right? Because you won't be having a social media team who's going to create maybe 10, 20 assets a day for, you know, for another 20 platforms, or actually even more if you're a global, you know, content powerhouse. So I think that's crucial. And I've been thinking every time I've been asking folks, how are you taking people from social to fast and streaming, etc.? And I think it's very much broken, right? So I mean, the link between the two. So I'm excited to see, you know, what that does. And on Paper Cup and JC, so I haven't heard him speak this time, but he's super knowledgeable, and I think he has this thing where he makes you feel good about AI. You don't feel worried with him in a way. That's the sentiment he gave me. But it's interesting so I think we're far from being able to do that in any language, right? What we're hearing is people saying that, maybe it works for Spanish in Latin, but not Spanish in Spain, that it's still early days for French, German, etc. And there's always a human interaction needed, which I think is also, an important thing. What these guys and others are doing, it's not 100% AI, and I would say thank God. But I've seen, I spoke to this a few weeks ago, and Mr. Beast in Spanish sounds good. And so I think,
Nice.
YouTubers will actually, embrace AI again, faster than us, right? So super exciting to see what's going on. But I think we need to, as an industry, we need to move fast as well. Otherwise, we're just feeding YouTube even more, right?
You're right. Quick comment about Jonathan, like honestly, amazing host. The way he was pushing, the crowd, like he was amazing, and I like this this kind of startup. He knows exactly who his clients are.
Yeah.
Marketing teams, from streamers, fast channels, studios, very clear. He wants to solve one specific issue in the industry.
Yeah.
That is, quality is important, okay, but quantity is key, like and consistency. So
Yeah.
if you want to promote your content, you have to be out there on all social media platforms, and don't do it like once a day, like 10 times a day on each platform, and then that's it. That's the only way if you want to show off a little bit.
Yeah, especially at a time when, you can see, right, companies, laying off, cost reductions, etc. I'm actually going to ask him to give it a go, because I'm really bad at doing GIF and things like that. So, instead of having to do this manually or via Canva, I'll give it a go, because we, more than anyone, know how demanding it is to actually create content, every single day of the week across different channels.
And
okay, cool.
They could help definitely some companies in the region. So I'll talk to him also.
So I have in the chat, so we had a bit of an issue at first, as we always do, thank you, Zoom. But it's all good now. And we have Thierry Fautier. Hi, Thierry. Thierry is saying that Netflix just announced, it's called Moments, right? Did I see that right? Where you can actually, use clips, specific clips, within a show. So yeah, I agree, long overdue. And we have Philip. So Philip saying that with so many viewing options and content fragmentation, content discovery is a huge challenge. Yeah, so he's asking about, other ways. So I think this piece on producing, promo assets, that's a great way to fix, that discoverability challenge, but it's not taking the user, by the hand, right? So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done on platform to facilitate the discoverability. We're seeing, searches, so search engines within connected TV platforms where it's highly powered by AI and machine learning. And what we're seeing is very different from one another. When I was at Roku, like the end result of the search would be showcasing, for the same title, the different business models that, you could view the program, whether that's, buying it, SVOD, TV, fast, AVOD, you name it. And what they were looking at doing was actually to surface first what was your typical way of consuming content, right? So if you were more inclined within their platform to actually consume free streaming or Netflix, then, the search would showcase that, first and foremost. And I think that's a fantastic way of doing that. I think there's going to be work to be done on the metadata, and hopefully AI can help there. Moving on to the Global Fast and AVOD Summit. So I was there, I was the host. I did listen, but I was not able to, capture what you captured. My mind, goes a bit blurry when I do those events. But there's a few things that, I'm interested to speak to. But yeah, give it a go. What was actually interesting for you?
Of course, so many insights during this session. Maria shared amazing data right at the beginning, before the roundtables. So 5 channels account for 25% of all viewing on Pluto TV in the US. I will say it's not a surprise, of course, premium channels. Having said that, like 25%, you know, it's huge. So,
Kind of scary. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
like I'm like, what about the others? Like,
Yeah.
it should be tough, like to be part of the top viewed channels. So
The most viewed. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's from the issue, or at least the challenge for them is discovery. You know, it's what we were mentioning. There was a session also during the CTV summit about like UX and how to improve it. When we talk to EPG, for example, so I think it's work in progress. We are all trying to find ways to push all the channels. It will be great before, like, if you don't have the brand, you can have the quality of the content, but at least you need to make sure that they discover you. So tough challenge.
So me, I really like the chat I had with Samuel Arowitz from Tubi, along with David Decker from Warner, right? So these guys spoke about innovative content partnership, and they spoke to how they started with AVOD. So essentially, Tubi was licensing, library content from these guys. As they then moved to more premium, and as one know, the a rev share versus a flat fee and MG, things are changing. But so initially started with library, moved on to premium. Then they brought actually a fast component, which is not, necessarily the I wouldn't say the strong suit, but the priority for Tubi. Tubi is very on demand first. They have over 70K titles, if not more. So it's very AVOD first, but they do have fast. And so they've done 10, 12 channels with Warner. So AVOD, check, fast, check. And the last one was actually surprising, but I think it shows how much free streaming is really becoming part of the equation and part of the windowing strategy. They actually partnered around a Halloween movie. I can't remember the name, my bad. I'll include it later on. Something about a necklace. Yeah,
necklace,
exactly.
something. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not an horror fan. I'm actually very scared of anything like that. So I looked at the poster and I was like, ugh. But fascinating stuff happening in the background, because it actually went to cinema. A week later, it was available in VOD, and then a week later was actually first window on Tubi. So to those who say, and I agree, it's the US, right? They're ahead of the game, and it's a bigger market, in terms of monetization. But it means that a company like Warner is not just looking at the old recipes of, licensing the library to the same people, right? They're able to now look at free streamers as, a proper avenue for their content, premium or even, brand new and original. So I thought that was super interesting.
The curse of the necklace.
The curse of the network. Thank you. Otherwise, we would have had a PR guy saying, guys, the curse of the necklace.
I hope it's the right one.
I think that's it.
This panel was so interesting, and it was a little bit funny. I felt like it was a love story between,
I agree.
Like congratulating, and honestly, it's great to see that, and to have like kind of best practices, partnerships that are still ongoing and went well in this industry. It's not always the case, and between those two huge companies, that's so it was a good one, definitely.
And he actually spoke to something that's interesting, and because I asked him, especially David Decker, because Samuel Arowitz and Tubi, they've been pushing that agenda for the last 10 years. So what's fascinating is they're now seeing those big guys coming to their, negotiation table and building partnership. But on David's side, so Warner Bros., he was saying that we're looking, at maximizing the touch points. But I told him that must be difficult, right? Because your teams were built to actually sell, and that's what Mipcom was all about initially. It's changing, but it's really much buying and selling. It needs a new expertise. It's a new set of stakeholders, etc. He was it was interesting to see how he was, you know, kind of supporting that change, you know, within his team. So good to see.
Yeah, and it looks like Warner is planning to use also or use, you know, Tubi to distribute more of its content all over the world. So
Yeah.
it won't stop there. That's a good
100%. It was good to travel so far as to go with Ed Love from Samsung in APAC. So very discreetly, he actually announced that the beta launched in Singapore, the Philippines, and what was the last one? Do you remember? There was another market. They were coming. Oh, and it's coming up in Thailand. So they've launched. Historically, they were in Australia and New Zealand. Just launched in those markets, so quite interesting. There's an opportunity for folks there, as they're clearly, you know, at the beginning of building the channel lineup.
And they launched also in Middle East, North Africa a few months ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shows that definitely Samsung TV Plus is pushing and developing its footprint all over the world. So.
Yeah. The other one that I really liked is Katrina Kowalski from Pluto. So she's a great panelist. It's like I was on a panel with her at ABC as well, and it's for a moderator. It's like it's heaven because
Too easy.
yeah, it's too easy almost, but she's taking the mic and no, but she's so eloquent. And so she was actually, and that's another example of how free streaming is getting, you know, more premium by the day. She was speaking about actually an original that they revamped, right? From, it was called Kiss the Frog. It's not called that because it's in Portuguese, but I will not try to say that. Yeah. Something, but so Kiss the Frog, which is a bit of a, you know, I don't know the equivalent, but it's factual content. They've produced new content, build a fast channel around it. They've built it because it's about, you know, people meeting, you know, a new love, etc., etc. So what they did is they brought on, you know, an overarching sponsor, Tinder, who actually so invested and was visible. Oh, someone is saying Beija Sapo.
Beija Sapo, okay.
Cool. And do a thumbs up if my, you know, accent in Portuguese, Brazil.
So it's the Tinder partnership, yeah. Right?
And they said that for the first season they had, you know, Tinder. Second season worked with actually, I think that was Salinized, to have a second brand, you know, come onto the project, and that these guys were actually, so it's a company that's doing shampoos and stuff like that. These guys are producing content. They've actually made a fast channel, you know, for the event, right? So with the oh, Carolina says I have a good accent in Brazilian Portuguese. Good for me. So I think that was super interesting, right? So it's a new avenue. You don't need to only go to the Netflix and the broadcasters of the world. You know, you can go to the free streamers to do those 360, you know, partnership in a way. Anything else?
Yeah,
maybe
we need
the other one.
We need more panels like this. Like it's amazing to hear about LATAM, about other region, APAC, that's of course. Maybe Mina one day.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Let's do it together.
Yeah, we have to next year.
Cool. So I think we have some more quotes. So I love the what's funny is what's old is new. And I love this because folks who have been on the block, around the block, working in this business are saying that, you know, free streaming, it's TV, right? And 100%. So, and we were talking about the new rules of programming, and she was saying that there's no new rules, right? But yeah, it's a new version, let's say, of what we were doing maybe 10, 20 years ago, and that's okay. Good history repeating. What she did say was that people were coming for the news and staying for the entertainment. This one I remember, yes. And you didn't put it down, and I thought that was interesting because we're always wondering, you know, what is drawing people in, you know, what makes them stay. We have a first answer from Genbox, from Roku, which is one of the leading AVOD and FAST platforms in the US. Anything else you liked during?
Yeah, I really like the quote from Jonita Kaymor. So we've also found that the content you wouldn't think of actually overperforms in some markets. you know, we talked a lot about data tracking during this Mipcom, and this crop is a good reminder that at some point, like you don't know 100% if a title is going to perform or not is in a specific region. So what's important is not is to test, edit, you know, iterate. You find new ways to make it successful, but you won't be sure 100%. So experience is also very important. Of course, if you mix it with data, but at the end, you know, this industry is kind of a little bit magic, because you won't be sure 100% when you release a specific title in a specific region.
I love that. Actually, that's a great point. I really liked Cédric as well, because of course, because what we're doing is not so new. We want to make it new. And so one of the things that we speak a lot about is, you know, customization, personalization, you know, and brought to free streaming and more, right? And it is tempting to apply technology and, you know, do that. But question number one, do audience actually want to, you know, truly personalized experience? I don't know, right? Maybe I want to watch the same Friends channel as you do, and the same Netflix as anyone does. And it was interesting to see that, you know, there's the geeky side of things, but also will it translate in terms of monetization? And if you have an audience, and because you're personalizing so much, you're building too many buckets, right? Because the way it works when you sell advertising, you sell, you know, you sell segments, and if you're, you know, cutting things, you're gonna lack then the right level of monetization. So I think that was interesting. You're tempted to do it because perhaps the consumer wants it, although we don't know how well that's going to work, and also it shouldn't impair the you know, the end goal, that is to monetize, you know, that time spent on a free streaming platform.
One of the best quote of the day, definitely. You know, Cédric works a lot with advertisers. I would love to see more advertisers, by the way, at Mipcom. I'm sure in the coming years they will come more and more. But definitely there is this kind of opposition between, like, from our industry, we try to say, you know, yeah, personalization is key, but when you talk to advertisers, what they need is scalability.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, trying to find a way between the scalability and personalization is I think this is the magic recipe, but it's easy to say. The reality is more complex.
Okay, so last but not least, the CTV Summit on Wednesday. By then, you know, it's like I had smoked a pack of cigarettes. I don't smoke anymore, but my mind I wasn't there anymore. So I did get to listen to a few things, but yeah, do share what caught your attention the most.
Let's start with the great Alan mentioning the great rebundling. It's a topic that you talked a lot about, Marion. Of course, it's very important. So Alan started mentioning the issue of churn, and of course, it's a bigger and bigger issue, especially in MENA. It's huge. It's much more than 10%. So an answer to that is bundling, of course, but not only. It's also the rise of ad-supported. So yeah, it makes sense, but it's always good to see those reminders. Definitely, it's the reality today of most of the streamers worldwide.
So looking at this, EPG still looks from the 80s and 90s. So I think that's quite funny, because that's true. I think, well, that's actually, crazy. I don't think I used an EPG at the time. You know, I think I had, you know, maybe 30, 50 channel. I'm a kid of the 80s. When I was born, we had, maybe 1, 2 channel. Then after a few years, we had 6, something like that. So I've never used an EPG, right? Or it was that magazine that I was, you know, browsing through.
True.
So I've been using an EPG a lot right now. And I have to be honest, it's driving me mad. Like, okay, no, I can't say anything because I have TV from a specific brand. So I can't I can't
Don't
speak
mention
to
brands.
I can't speak to my exact experience, but I mean, regardless of where I'm going. So this is where I would love to see AI, get in the mix. I don't know how so, but I mean, the channels I watch the most at the top, please. I don't need to go look for them. They need to be there. I don't know. We need to make things easier. And so obviously more, different touch points on the platform, besides the EPG, because it ends up being just scrolling down. And yeah, I'm old, I guess, but I'm kind of missing the buttons, right? I don't have buttons anymore. And sometimes like, I want to go somewhere, but yeah. So anyway.
I totally agree. The EPG is like most of the time it's a nightmare. What they did is what we did, let's say we as an industry, is mixing old EPG with carousels. And at the end, you get lost, and it will be worse and worse with the number of channels that are coming. So let's try to find a solution, and AI is part of the answer, definitely.
So interesting. Someone says streaming made easy reminds you of a company name. Yeah, I think I chose this one quite nicely. Someone said, but if the EPG change orders, then discoverability will be 0. No, I get that. I don't mean that it should necessarily change the order, but I would say, having some specific channels at the top, because those are the ones that you watch the most, then the rest of the EPG can be the same. But clearly, you understand why those companies are, being more and more picky when it comes to, putting someone new within the EPG, right? Because it's going like this. And they need to work on the product sides to find ways to discover content 100%. So speaking about, CTV guys, Samsung TV Plus, 92% of the users use the top 10 apps. So actually the number you gave from Maria saying, so it was on a given platform, but that's kind of, all of those are close to that 80-20,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
And we all know that's the challenge, right? Some mainstream services will get, the lion's share of the viewing, of the monetization, etc. So I think, whether that's streaming services, paid or free, fast channels, etc. I think those, lineups are going to get trimmed down. There's going to be replacements. You hear Olivier Jolet speak, on the streamer talk on Tuesday, which was with Evan, and he says that they can start and stop a channel just like that, right? That's kind of the beauty, in a way, of our ecosystem. It's not great if you are the channel that's being put up and down. But yeah, I think the bar is going to get higher and higher to get up there. A number I want to share that he didn't share last week, I wish he had, but they sent a PR today, and they're saying that they have access to 88, is it 88 million?
Yeah, they shared it yesterday, I think.
Yeah, globally.
We have the same source, Marion. 88
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like
monthly active users.
Yeah,
so
we need that data, right? So if I'm looking at this, it means that they're overall.
Same. Yeah. Tubi, I think, is a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, Tubi was around 79, 80, maybe 82 a few months ago. Pluto stopped reporting this over a year ago, and they were at that 80 million number. Now, that's a great number, but the question is, how much time are these guys spending on your platform, right? So on its own, it's nice. It gives a sense of scale. But
so you have the data
how much time people are actually spending with your platform. That's where the value truly is. But we'll get there. They will share that in a few months' time, hopefully.
So Antoine shared the interesting insight about that. The average Samsung streamer has 8 streaming sessions per week, and 2 hours per streaming session. It's huge,
and that's across anything, right? That's
yes.
That's not just their Samsung TV Plus. So it's across.
No, it's Samsung TV Plus.
Oh, it's just Samsung TV Plus?
Yeah, just Samsung TV Plus. Yes. I was impressed by those numbers.
So as always, it's tough to compare when we have little numbers from the others. But yeah, that makes sense.
It's a good idea. Let's try to find similar numbers and put them together.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're, getting close to the hour spent together. Do we have some more? I think that was the last one, right? So, oh, we have some more.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Oh, yes, there's actually a good one in
Of
there.
course,
Okay.
the best one.
Okay, you take this one. You take this one. Oh, we have some more. Awesome. But guys, second, put things in the chat, the Q&A, go for it. I'm trying to look at the camera while I'm looking down at this, but, I'll manage. It's good practice. So feel free to send some question or remarks, of things that you've seen during Mipcom.
So Ralph, if you're here with us, you want the
I
title
doubt
of the best quotes. So Ralph from ZDF mentioned, if you gave me a DeLorean, I will go back to 2010 and invest in YouTube monetization. That's a very interesting one. I had the opportunity to discuss with companies specialized in YouTube monetization, Zillow, Watch TV. You remember we met with Patty. Lasso also. So there are more and more companies like this, but they've been here for quite some time, right? Maybe because it's a little bit slightly different than our industry.
Yeah.
We are not focused on them, but more and more, even from my region, more and more content providers, distributors started asking me about this YouTube monetization, like how there are some titles that they don't monetize, and they would love to find opportunities to monetize them outside the pure streaming services and on YouTube. So I don't know if what you think about this, Marion, if it's like more than a trend, but definitely I will start focusing on it more and more.
I was there when he mentioned this, and maybe I can ask what you understood exactly by that, because so he said specifically YouTube monetization, right? So he's been investing in YouTube, just not on the monetization portion of it. Is that what he said?
What I understood is that he started investing in YouTube too late. So
okay,
now,
so
now he understands the value of it, and he would have started much earlier.
That's yeah. Again, Emily said this on the kids, saying, thinking about it was a few years ago, doing it is now. Although I would say that kids companies have invested in YouTube a lot already, more than we have. And I would say that there's a reason. We still think as an industry that YouTube is not premium content. We still think that it's user-generated content, except that there's two things. Number one, yes, of course, part of the content that is on there, may not meet broadcast quality standards. I get that. But we're seeing, a lot of YouTubers investing in, brick and mortar studios and investing a lot of money in what they're putting out there. It is, like TV. It is as premium as TV. So I think that's one. And so the second thing is folks who are spending time on YouTube do not care. So this definition that we have of what is premium and not premium, it does not matter to the end user. And at the end of the day, we're doing this for the end user, right? So, and I think we as an industry should be really worried, because a lot of the changes that YouTube is putting on right now, even in the way that they're, not allowing you to skip ads when it's on the big screen, or my TV is there, I'm pointing there, or the fact that they're enabling YouTubers to actually organize their content by seasons, etc. So they're taking a lot of those rules of the game from traditional media and applying it to YouTube. So yeah, clearly everyone should invest into YouTube. I've started myself for the learning and as a B2B outlet. But yeah, I agree 100%. Now, in terms of the monetization, you don't control anything. So let's be clear. If you invest, you need to feed the YouTube beasts and give it what it wants, essentially. And then on the monetization, YouTube does it. So whether you get a small or a big check, there's not much you can do. So I think that's also one of the reasons why people don't want to invest, in that space. and focus on AVOD and FAST, where they can actually control the inventory to some extent.
An interesting use case, some fast platforms in MENA started creating fast channels with YouTube content.
Yeah.
So they acquired the content, you know, it's a kind of a hybrid way to try to benefit from this.
Yeah, actually, I think it's Jonita from Filmrise. She mentioned that as well. Filmrise have a partnership. They have a creators vertical within their business, and they're doing just that. Yeah.
But monetizing on YouTube is something else.
It's a different thing. Looking back 5 years, I'd focus more on inventory control and localization. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the chicken and egg, right? So you go somewhere, you don't necessarily keep the inventory because you don't have any ad sales capacity. So you leave it with the platform, but it's actually virtuous to do it yourself. So yeah, and that's a tricky thing to come back from. Nice, nice. Okay, so let me check if I have any questions. I don't see question, but I see folks speaking in, and folks I know, like Xenia. Xenia, she was at Paramount and now she's working in AI. So see,
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
We need her.
Yeah. We need her 100%. I need to catch up with her to understand exactly what she does. She says anytime. Awesome, cool, guys. I think we're coming to an end. Thank you so much for being here. Just one more item. I'm actually doing another webinar. So these things are becoming monthly events. The next one, end of November, is going to be the live debate club like I did this summer, except that we're going to focus on sports. I have 4 amazing panelists who are getting, ready to pitch their ideal sports bundle. And boy, there's a lot of choice. It's the most fragmented segment that we can think of. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, what these guys would do if they were in the driver's seat. So this is the next thing. Keep an eye on my newsletter and LinkedIn for more on this. And the debate, well, today's discussion is going to be on YouTube in a few days' time. But till then, have a good day, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Marion. Hope I'll see you before next Mipcom.
Oh, 100%. We have to. Let's do that.
Definitely. Thanks,
Thank you, everyone. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.